And we're live, right?
And we are. Welcome, everybody, to the Gratitude, Inspiration and Happiness workshop. I hate calling it a workshop because there's nothing worky about it, but it's just a chance for us all to get together and chat on a topic. Tonight, we're having a slightly different format. We're going to be a bit more off-piste, open mic kind of thing. But you know, all around the kind of ideas and the insights around passion. So NASCO has very kindly agreed to start us off, and I'll hand you over to NASCO.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Right, Maddie? We need to start warming up the audience. Yeah, I'm always very shaky when I start presenting, even though when I know my topic, I don't need slides. I normally present by drawing. I'm very visual, so I just need a lot of, let's say, sketchy papers or these Post-its so I can start drawing. And then the story evolves, right? But since I can't really draw here remotely, that's why I prepared the presentation. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, but my story is only about a couple of slides, and this is just to make a couple kind of to set the scene of the topic related to purpose. Sorry, to passion, of course. What am I talking about? Okay, so yeah, I propose this topic because this is one of these words that I wanted to research and to understand. Also, some of you may know that I'm very passionate about purpose, and being passionate about something means that you're actually using all your energy and flame to achieve a goal. So I will touch base a little bit about how I see these two concepts, like passion and purpose. Then, of course, I'm sharing my personal experience with you. Because I'm not a native speaker, in order to respect you, the native speakers, I need to do my due diligence and just check in the dictionary what this word actually means, so I can start working out from there. So that's why as usual, I always like to look at the dictionary and I try to figure out what the word would mean according to, common understanding. And as every other word, it is just a human concept. So this is a thing that we humans developed in order to express emotions, excitement, and everything else that requires words, right? So if we look at the dictionary, you would see that passion is a noun. It actually represents an emotion, actually a strong emotion. And all of these highlighted words that you see, actually they express exactly a very strong word which should not be used or abused unnecessarily. When it comes to passion and trying to explain what passion is, I always remind myself about the expression, the passion of Christ, right? I mean, why passion? Why not an inspiration? Why not the self-neglection of why not anything else but passion? Or why passion of the Christ? I mean, this is such a strong combination, right? Especially when you're a bit more religious and you know what is actually behind, then you understand that this is really an extremely strong emotion, which helps us humans to make the impossible things possible. So by being passionate, actually, we are trying to express a certain drive in our life that can help us achieve a goal. I'm just scrolling down because the more I think about passion, the more I'm actually trying to see these words as the way we influence other people. Most of the people, they are very oblivious about the way they live. Actually, they're happy to just exist. They're actually passionate not to change things. There are other people who want to do things. They are passionate about doing things. There are also fewer who are trying to. They are passionate to make a change, and there are even less people that are passionate to be the change, right? So this being part is part of how we develop this passion. This is the way, at least I see the things. So when we talk about passion, we normally talk about this very strong experience that we are that drives us towards a certain goal. And then you may ask yourself, okay, so how big is a passion if you compare it with other emotions? So now I'm offering you an interesting perspective about passion. The perspective, the topic last time that we discussed was about legacy. And I found a reference to the word passion, but spelled in this way. So instead of splitting it by syllables, it is split in this way, like pass, I, on. Of course, it makes like a word game here, but if you see what it means, it's actually passing the I on. So when we talk about legacy and when we talk about passion, one can actually see the word passion as the way of passing yourself on. So this is also why do we feel passionate? It's because maybe we want to leave a legacy. And as you see here, the I is not a big I, it's a small I, just to remind us that we need to be humble, we need to be respectful, we need to be loving, we need to be caring. And then this would help us to pass the I on, in a way preserving the ego, but be always, respectful toward the others. And then comes the question, at least for me on several occasions, like what is a purpose and what is passion? How do they relate? This might be also a topic for discussion, of course. I'm going to just give you a point of view. For me, the passion is something short-lived, it's ephemeral, it starts, burns, achieves a goal, and then most people don't have passion in their life. Some people are passionate all the time with different things. I discovered that once I understood what my purpose is, I started crafting my passion. But also, purpose doesn't need passion to be manifested, right? I mean, in order to achieve your purpose, and if your purpose is, let's say, to help 1,000 people in 1 year time to change their lives, not everything that you do will be driven by passion. You need to get up early, you need to do these things, you need to do that thing. You might not be passionate to do that, but actually there is a purpose. So for me, purpose creates passion. Passion cannot exist without purpose. Purpose can exist without passion. I'm just going to throw a little bit of combinations here to reflect on this. So I would like to end with that kind of invitation that in order to pass the I on, just be yourself, aspire to inspire until you expire. Thank you.
Thank you. That's quite thought-provoking. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that.
Yeah.
So I want to question you on it, Nasco, because if you've got a purpose and you're working towards that purpose, do you not need to be passionate about it to fulfill it? Because if you're not passionate about it, you won't get there.
Passion is
absolutely.
the fuel for your dreams and your goals and your and your purpose. If you don't have passion, you're never going to make it. It's what keeps you going.
Yeah, I just maybe wanted to make it a bit more clear that, passion is one thing, it's like the fuel, but if you don't have really the discipline, the persistence, and all the other ingredients, then passion will not be sufficient. This is maybe what I wanted to say.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, it depends really how you look at this thing.
Yeah. Anna, what you're looking to chime in?
I was going to say the same thing, because like obviously we're all building businesses ourselves, so we're all trying to find what our purpose is. But without developing, you need that passion to develop your purpose, because otherwise, if you're not passionate about something, you give up.
Do it.
You just give up. But I love that. Thanks, Nazco. And it was
Brilliant.
Yeah, beautifully prepared and wonderful as always. But yeah, it's just, I love the pass I on. I thought that was fabulous. And a fire to inspire. I'm going to use that. I'm so using that. It's fabulous.
Yeah, so you aspire to inspire until you expire. It's not mine, by the way. I just need to remember who said this, but it was just amazing, and it's stuck in my head.
I think that's the thing. A lot of these things aren't ours, but we're passing them on to other people for other people to, and I was like, I love that. I haven't heard that before, so brilliant sharing. Thank you.
Well, honestly, you probably have heard it, but not in a way that you could absorb.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's where, you understand that nothing we hear is inherently new. It's just said in a way that you can now hear it. So that's why some of our coaching businesses and our workshops and things like that are so important, because everything we learn has to be filtered through us so we can reach other people. That's how it works. I mean, you look at the Aboriginal people and how, they never wrote anything down. It was always by storytelling and storytelling and storytelling. But those stories went through the elders, so the next generation could could glean something different from it. So everything that we are teaching other people, we're only going to reach the ones that resonate with us, right? I'm not going to be able to speak to the people Maddie can speak to. I'm not going to be able to speak to the ones Anna can speak to, because that's not the people that will resonate with me for a reason, right? It's not as though they haven't heard what I'm saying before. They just haven't heard it through me.
Yeah.
I think as well, I don't know about any of the rest of you, I quite often think, oh, I can't say that again, but actually there is power in repetition, because there will be people who haven't heard what you have to say. There will be people who have heard what you have to say but weren't ready to hear it, if that makes sense, or weren't ready to absorb it or take it on board. But I know I do that a lot. I kind of think, oh, I can't say that again. I've said this before, but actually it is important.
Well, this is part of let's say the didactical skills, which are actually not negligible skills that, and they talk about the spiral way of learning, where you always have a seed of a concept. And you repeat it in several times, just enlarging it and elaborating on it, because this is the way we learn. People comprehend only 40% when you speak to them. This means that the other 60% is exactly this vital, expression that you wanted to tell them, but they never remembered it because they were just maybe picking their nose or whatever they did. So actually, you need to engage again to reaffirm that at some point in this spiral, you will come back to this, so it is important for them.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we say to someone, like, your immediate family, and say, I've said this before, I've said this a million times, and they haven't got it, and then all of a sudden they've got it. You're like, oh, finally, yeah.
Smashing. Okay, who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Fantastic, Anna.
Okay, I haven't organized anything, which is totally unlike me. So Maddie, I need to come on your public speaking courses, because I'm always normally have something, because I get that fear, that especially in the beginning stages, like you're talking about, and your heart starts going. You think you've got it all together, and then heart starts going, your voice starts jittering. and all that. But passion is something that I'm very familiar with, and more from when I was a kid. I had a passion for horses, like this incredible, like my room was plastered with horse posters everywhere. Everyone else had boys and bands and all that over their walls. I had horses on the ceiling everywhere, and I'd spend every moment I could up the stables. I wasn't allowed in there during the week, but on the weekends I would be up there where all my friends were out and about doing stuff. I was there getting dirty. I wasn't riding. I didn't, because I couldn't afford to have horse lessons home. I would just work up there, and my riding instructors, or the person that owned the farm, they lived in London, and they would come out and they wouldn't get there till about 10, 11 o'clock, and I would make sure I was there, the first one there, before anyone was there, have all the horses mucked out for them. It was like always my goal to do that, have the yard swept. I was 11-year-old, 12-year-old working my ass off there, and I loved it. It was my passion, it was that drive, it was that appreciation afterwards when, and just to see a beautiful clean stables or a beautifully made horse, like bed and stuff, and it was just like, and a beautifully swept yard, and I was like, I did that, and it was a massive drive and appreciation. And it wasn't about the horse riding for me, it was always being around horses. There was something I felt always at home and accepted, and I was good at what I did. I'm good around horses. I understand them and everything, and from a young age too. And so this passion, it just, I didn't care what other people thought either. I would look a mess 90% of the time. I would have straw in my hair. I would just be stinking of horses. I wouldn't care, because it was what I loved to do. And with that though, I went into a career with horses, and then my passion became a labor of love, because I suddenly was working. It wasn't a choice anymore. It became, I had to go and do this job because I needed to make money, and there was no choice anymore. So I didn't resent it, but I lost that passion for it. As I got older, I've almost saturated myself with it too much.
Yeah.
And so I made a conscious decision never to work with horses again, because I love my passion around them. And so I ended up in my late 20s, I had my own horses, and I learned to love it again. It was just, being with the horses, immersing myself with them. I've had several horses. Now I don't have any. But I'm okay with that, because they're still my passion. They're still what really, I can watch videos after videos after videos and not get bored, and I relate to it. And I think that's such a big thing. I think sometimes you can saturate yourself with your passion so much that you lose the love for it. And I think there is a balance there with that too. So yeah, I think that's what I kind of wanted to share. I don't know where that came from, but that's something that I completely relate to as a passion. It's almost like that love, that first love that you have, that feeling in your heart and your stomach, and you just dream about it. I used to dream and dream and dream, and with those dreams actually ended up coming a reality. As a child, I think I've told this story before, I dreamt of white picket fences, the horses in my back garden, having a nice house which I looked out and I could see my horses out there, and I had that. And to have that was just incredibly fulfilling. But also with the dreams that you manifest and that come true, when they do come true, I suddenly thought, oh gosh, what am I going to do now? My dream has come true, that there's nothing else. And I suddenly stopped dreaming, and I've started dreaming again now. I've found a new passion, something I'm really, really excited about with my business, and it's all around the canine world. Susan's with me on this one. Love dogs, love being around them, and making a business out of it. and being able to educate others. I think that's such a huge thing, and having a passion behind it, how to educate others, make people's lives better, dogs' lives better, you know, and to do that, there's my passion now. So it's yeah, it's all very exciting. So that's my share. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Super
Thanks
cool.
so much, Anna. And absolutely, I can completely relate. I have to say, you've also been a huge inspiration to me, Anna. In I think giving me the inspiration, the nudge, the belief that it's possible to actually start something. You know, and I started really small, thinking, oh, I'll just do a wee bit on the side, kind of, and it's just mushrooming, and it's that thing about, oh, I don't want to start talking about this just now, but you know, actually finding your passion and realizing it was kind of there under the surface all the time, but you didn't know, or you did know, but you didn't face it, or you didn't acknowledge it.
And you didn't think you could, like, because we're obviously monetizing out of our passion,
Yeah.
and sometimes we feel you shouldn't monetize your passion,
Mm-hmm.
but why not?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're good, and that's why it's mushroomed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you love it and you're
Yeah.
good at it.
Yeah.
And you say that I've inspired you, but you've inspired me in more ways than I can ever describe, you know, and it's just, I think that's so important, supporting each other.
That's it. Finding like-minded individuals that you can bounce off of each other. Just on this, before we move on, in a past life, I had a Herbalife business. Now, I travelled, you know, to all the big kind of extravaganzas and all the rest of it, and I thought I was passionate about building a Herbalife business, but I couldn't do it, and I couldn't bring myself to talk to people about it. And when I did, I was stuttering, I was uncomfortable, I felt salesy, I felt inauthentic, you know, and I always felt, on one hand, I was telling people I was trying to help them, but really I was trying to sell them products, you know, and it just never ever quite sat with me. Whereas now I can say to people, yeah, I can walk your dog for you. Yeah, I can let your dog out while you're at your wedding or whatever you're doing, and it doesn't feel icky.
I think there's a difference between selling a product and a service that you're responsible for. Because I was the same. I did the same with Arbonne. And I thought, you know, and it's amazing products. Still stand behind them 100%. Love them. But when it comes to the selling, exactly the same. Exactly. So it's very different selling a product to selling a service, especially one that's your brand and that you stand behind and that you're passionate about.
And that you know people need. So it's easy to share it. It's easy to, you know, share something you're passionate about when you know people need it.
You know, I'm just opening a bracket here. Have you realized that actually when you sell, or when you offer a product and a service, it's not, they don't hold the value. The value is actually you or the brand behind. Right? Not the product. I mean, the product is just a result of the value that you as an individual or a brand, you know, deliver. That's really, for me, it was a kind of a mind-stretching realization, because everybody says, okay, that's the product. What's the value of the product? Okay, the product is self-explanatory. Actually, it's what is behind that brings the value. The product is the result of the value. So what you're talking about, your product or service, I mean, in this case, service, you know, taking care about dogs, it's the value that you bring behind that people prefer your service than someone else's. I would say.
To realizing that, you know, monetizing your passion is actually part of the law of attraction. Money will always follow passion, always. And it's all like, money doesn't stay with people who take money without passion, but it stays with you when you're passionate about it and doing it in a proper, grateful way. You know what I mean? Like, It's money will always go wherever it needs to go, but it'll stay with those who are properly passionate.
Passionate about it.
Well, I'm
Right.
looking forward to it staying, Kellyanne.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it day.
Yeah, it's the sticky value. It's the sticky value, right? It's got to stick to you. Passion will keep it there.
I need to change my job then.
Just one thing about, like, you know, selling to people. I remember selling products. You know, you used to do parties at home, and I loved being with the people. I ended up having a party with them and enjoying themselves. When it came to selling, I had that, you know, that
Couldn't ask for the sale.
like, oh my God, now I've got to do this. You know, I said, yeah, just order what you like. Don't worry. You know, but it wasn't my passion. My passion was the people, not the item that I was selling. And when you start like just you all talking about selling products, and then you doing the service, and I think long time ago, you know, it was the in thing. You used to have parties, friends round, and then you used to sell products. It could be anything, Amway, anything like that. And I never ever thought I'd do that, but I did it because I was always looking for my dream, for my passion, for my what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm doing this, but actually I'm having a good time more than I wanted to do the selling, even though I needed to make money. So I never knew that my passion was there, but I just didn't use it in the right way at the time. And it's interesting you saying that, because then you find it and you think, why didn't I think of that, you know, when I was younger, you know?
I think multi-level marketing and network marketing, kind of, if you've delved into that, it's like that breaking point to going, do you know what, I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet now. I'm going to actually follow my passion. Like, multi-level marketing wasn't for me, but it gave me a massive turbo boost into going, what is for me? Really thinking about what is it that I want, you know, and I've got a lot to be grateful for that fact. And there's lots of negativity around multi-level marketing, but in my views, and I don't want to get in a big conversation about this either, but it's every company's multi-level marketing. Every single company out there is.
Every corporation, every
there's always
everybody.
But it was something you could be really good at if you wanted to be. If you know, everyone could be really good at it, but it was about that passion. It was about, you know, there's some people that do so well in it, and you can see they've got that little extra thing that other people don't have, and that it's the passion for it, and they go for it.
And I would like to throw something else in the mix, is that at the moment you realize that there is a fine difference between manipulation and inspiration. You realize that the way you bring the message about the product or service, if it comes from an inspiration point of view, inspiration perspective, people are much more willing to believe, follow, and, you know, and buy, of course. When you are manipulating, only one of these two is sustainable, you know. Manipulation, definitely not.
Doesn't passion and inspiration go hand in hand too? Because you've got to be passionate about something to inspire someone.
Well, yeah, you can be skilled artist, you know, just a skilled actor to present a story in a beautiful, you know, package. Well, when you are passionate about this, then people can see the sparkles in your eyes. They can see the gesture, the body language changes. That's, I think, for me, the extra boost. And that's why, for me, this word passion is represented by the boost of everything else.
Yep, I agree. Well, I was going to bring Kellyanne up or on next, but I think I'll jump in. Unless, Maddie, have you got anything you want to share, or are you joining us as a spectator?
I came as a spectator because I haven't got anything prepared. But, you know, just on passion is the only thing is my focus. I've noticed that going through a journey that I've been going through, which has been going through for a while, is that always believe that if you're passionate about something, that's, like you said, the sparkle in the eye, the people will come to you. And I think when people noticed you without you putting yourself out there, just talking and being who you are as a person and showing people how much you're passionate about what you want to do to change people's lives, or, you know, with your own businesses to increase. But for me, you know, when I'm my fear that kicks in is because I've got a passion and I want to bring that across. But when you're happy in your passion, everything seems to work out. It starts flowing, everything seems to fall in place. But when you're fighting against your, oh yeah, this is my passion, this is it, you know, I found it. If you're forcing it, then it's not going to come. But if you just let it come to you naturally, and you know, like you said, your stories, you know, like your horse, you know, I had, my passion was my family in Malta. You know, I love, you know, I lived out there. It wasn't right. It's okay. Keep going, and your passion will find your way. And then that's my share. But I hope that's enough, because I didn't prepare anything. But
that was what this call was all about, Maddie. It was not necessarily, it was about kind of big long preparation, etc., because that's one of my, I suppose, my bugbears, that the workshop becomes, you know, something that's kind of heavy going and stressful, and, you know, another part of something that makes you think, I can't do this because I don't have time, I don't have the energy, I don't have the headspace, I don't, you know. So just to come on and actually just speak from the heart is fabulous. So thank you for sharing. And I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I think you're spot on. You know, if you follow your passion and you're happy in it, then you will attract other people to you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Kellyanne, are you ready to jump in?
Well, again, I'm not prepared for anything, but just a couple of thoughts that, you know, like, when we love, passion to me is just loving what you do and doing what you love. I've been doing a lot of studying on my dream series, which is going to be a full-blown course, by the way, but it's passion. I'm actually in the section of passion right now, and but it all comes from, like, the passion to me is your fuel, is what keeps you going through the rough times. You have your dream, you clarify your dream, you run it through reality, and then you start developing, through that process, you start developing your passion and realizing your passion. Your passion may have given you a dream, but to develop that dream, it builds the passion. It's this big circle that happens. And the more it happens, the more you follow your dream, the more you clarify your dream, the more you strategize, the more passion you get. If it's right for you, it feels right. And it's it all works together. But it's all these little steps. And if you miss one of the steps, you're treading water. You're not, you know, you can have all the passion in the world, you can have all the belief in the world, but Mowgli will never be a wolf. Doesn't matter how much passion he has for it. Doesn't matter how much he believes it. He's never going to be a wolf. You know what I mean? All the experience in the world, everything else, he's still never going to be a wolf. So you have to adjust things. You have to be wise. You got to be, you know, aware of where your feelings are and everything else. And once you start fine-tuning and honing in, the passion drives you. It keeps you on the road, basically. So that's it all works together.
Yep, you're right. And that kind of brings us back round to what Nasco was saying at the beginning. I absolutely
Mm-hmm.
agree. I kind of, in my notes, that I can't read my own handwriting now.
Cheater, you made notes.
Yeah, but I didn't. Listen, look, it's on the back of an envelope. I mean, really, right? There was a time it would have been in the back of a fag packet, but it's an envelope now. I've progressed. So when I started thinking about passion, my first thoughts were the colours red and purple and black. That was kind of when I thought about passion, and I thought it's fiery, it's full on, it's energized, but it's really hard to sustain. And then I started to think along similar lines, what you're saying, if you can hone it and you can work on it, and it will continue to build, and it will move away from that hot, angry thing that can fizzle out, and actually start to become something that you nurture with love, and it will last, it will stand the test of time. And I wondered whether, when you visualize passion, what it springs to mind. Is it something kind of white and fluffy and cuddly, or is it something that's, fiery? I wondered whether, you have a mental picture of what passion is. A bit like what Anna used to talk about, when you think about money, what do you visualize? If it was to turn up at your door, what would it be? If passion was to turn up at your door, what would it look like? So that was just a wee kind of abstract thought I had. With the Museum of Happiness, the very, very first teachings we ever did, or the first kind of class work that we did, was around, and some of you might remember this, I'm repeating this, was passion, purpose, and peace. And a bit like the ikigai, the circles, where you have a circle with what you're passionate about, a circle including what brings you peace, and a circle about what you feel your purpose is. And if there's an intersection, then you've hit the jackpot. And very often you maybe don't have much of a crossover, an overlap, but there are different things at different times that bring you different emotions, different passions, different, your purpose, or your, what actually brings you peace. But what we actually need to consider is that we work on these things around our daily lives. We shoehorn them in when we have space, when we have time, when we have energy, when in actual fact what we should be doing is we should be making the time, the energy, and then shoehorning the rest of what we do every day around our passion, our purpose, and what brings us peace, as opposed to those things being an afterthought. They should be driving us, they should be at the forefront of our lives, rather than something that we go, oh, wait a minute, So if you haven't done it before, I would urge you to actually spend a wee bit of time just thinking, and I mean, we probably have done this all already, but actually make some notes, find an envelope and scribble what brings you purpose. What is your purpose? What are you passionate about? And it may be the same thing, or it may be slightly different. Who knows? And what do you do when you want to bring peace in your life? What is that go-to thing when you think, I just need peace?
A glass of red wine.
Oh, well, do you know, Anna? Some of us can't do that. But it's quite interesting, go and take the dog for a walk where you are, and that's all 3 in a one, it's fab. So it kind of brought me on to a story I heard. Now, I've spoken about this with numerous people who have argued and disagree with it, so that's why I thought I would bring it to the table and let you draw your own conclusions about it. And it was about basketball player in the States. And this lad, all he ever wanted to do was play basketball. A bit like Anna with her horses, he ate, slept, dreamt, everything was basketball. It was his passion. He practiced, he practiced, he practiced. He did his 10,000 hours, he did everything else. He got college scholarship, went and played and played and played, and just was always knocking on the door. Just never quite made it, always knocking on the door. End of his college career, hadn't quite actually made it into the big leagues, was devastated. And eventually a coach took him aside and he said, I know you're passionate, son, but somebody somewhere needs to tell you you're not quite good enough. And you think, oh, you know, you've just stood on that lad's dreams, you know, because that lad was going to keep knocking at doors till it eventually happened. But actually this coach couldn't stand it any longer. He'd watched this lad come all the way through school, high school, college, knowing that he just didn't have that certain something that it took to make it. And he had the courage to tell him. And he said, what you need to do is you need to stop trying to build your life around your passion, build your life around your gifts. And this lad, you know, he sat and licked his wounds for a few weeks, and what was he going to do with his life and all the rest of it? And then he decided that he wanted to go and speak in schools and to college students who had a dream, and to make them aware that the world can be a cruel place and you can follow your dreams. You can follow your dreams to the nth degree, but you know, not everybody attains it, and there's sometimes reasons for that. And actually to look inside and find your gifts. And he became a very, very successful motivational speaker around schools, high schools, colleges, and on the, you know, on the world stage. And because he developed his gift of sharing and inspiring, it wasn't his passion. His passion still basketball. It still plays, you know, at an amateur level, but that wasn't where his gifts lie. So I thought I would throw that in as a, you know, maybe another perspective, another way of looking at it. Because we are all talking about following our passions, creating our life around our passions, but actually, you know, and that story is just a wee tad personal for me, because I have a son that's is kind of in the same boat at the moment, having gone through everything, and has ate, slept and dreamt ice hockey since he was about 7 years old. And we find ourselves at a point where he's at a crossroads and he's going to have to follow his gifts rather than his passion, I think. So it's just one to think about. So that was my little share about passion.
That's why they say that, you know, passion is very important, but it's not going to get you where you need to go, because you have to still go through the reality part. And that's where you're identifying your gifts and your talents and things like that. So yeah, very, very good. Very good.
I totally resonated with that, just with the horses and things. And, you know,
I got a daughter as a horse nut.
Yeah. But working with them, and there's so much competition out there. There's some, you know, and there's so much money out there. Money talks, especially in the equestrian world. And so does skill and all that, but money is a big thing too. And yeah, I was never good as everyone else, and I felt that too. And I didn't have that bit to kind of get me into that elite side of things, and I never really wanted to get to that part too, because it's very cutthroat too. It's a very difficult industry to survive in. But yeah, totally resonate with that, and following your gifts. Right, yeah, I thought that was fabulous. I haven't heard that story before. So who was the speaker? Do
I
you
knew
know?
you were going to ask me
I
that.
know. I was like, should I put it in the chat? I was just like, should I put it in the chat or should I mention it?
Tony Robbins?
No,
It wasn't Tony Robbins, actually. I'll dig it out because I did actually share it in my family group when I came across it. So I will find it and keep nudging me if it takes me a wee while and I forget. Keep nudging me because I will find it and I'll share it.
Oh,
I see.
yeah. I definitely resonated with that because my son was absolutely passionate with football when he was 5 and he wanted to be a professional footballer. That's all he wanted to do every day in his football kit. And he got scouted to go and play for, a team. And I never forget how it broke his heart when he didn't get picked. And he still carried on. He wasn't going to give up because that's what he wanted. But he had a gift because he struggled at school. He was so good with children. And now he's an amazing PE teacher and he's a personal trainer. And I never, ever thought that he would be so happy in what he does. He still does football because he's still mad on football. But there's money there. There's lots of people do it, but you're lucky if you get that break. And when you've got a gift, if you've got a gift to help others, and that's what he does, he teaches children with coaching football because that's what his passion is. So maybe your son could coach, just looking at other ways for him to find his a way. But, I resonated with that because I know we went through a lot of pain and upset when he didn't get picked, and it made it, because he struggled at school, football was his passion. Then suddenly he's sort of told that he wasn't good enough and it knocked his confidence. But because with the, parents being me and my husband trying to support him, saying, let's see what else you can do. You can still do football, but he wasn't going to give up. And I think I made him do voluntary work, try to do different things to learn where he wanted to go. And I really resonated in that. That was lovely, absolutely lovely. And I love the gift bit. I think that is great.
Maddie, my dad's 74 and I think he's 74, he might be 7, no, he's 74. And from a young, he was a good footballer, a really good football player. And back in the day, they used to kick balls around on the street and they would get scouted like that with kids kicking balls around the street. And one of the guys that he was hanging out with, he actually did go on to be a professional footballer back then. But he eats, sleeps and breathes football, always has. He went into a career of teaching, not football. He did craft design and technology. But roll on now, he's been playing for England in walking football. So he's lived out his dream. He waited for his passion, and he's traveled to, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like Premier League or anything like that, but he's been to Belfast, he's been captain of the England team for walking football, and that is just such an achievement, that even though he might not be a professional football player now, there are other ways to manifest your dream.
That's brilliant.
So he's still playing, Anna? I remember you mentioning that. He's still playing?
No, he's still in the squad, but he's got a dodgy knee. He's waiting for a knee operation. But as soon as that's done, he'll be back out there. Yeah.
Sorry, Kelly.
I remember when my daughter, as long as I think one of her first words was horse. But I see, your Anna, your passion with the horses and things like that. I think her first lesson, I made her take. Her friends had horses, and I says, I give her a few lessons, like 4-H club type lessons, but make her muck a stall. Here's this 5-year-old kid. Her first lesson is how to muck a stall. I says, I'm not doing it for her. She's going to end up with a horse. And if she can live through the next couple of years of mucking stalls and everything else, and then learning how to ride, I don't want her to learn how to ride first, because she needs to know the itty bitty and the gritty and everything else goes with it. When she was 16, her friends took her for a horseback riding, trail ride at a private barn. And this horse was the only, like, the horse actually picked her. And actually no other animal or no other human could actually ride this horse. And this is Kristen was the first one who rode this horse. Well, she ended up buying the horse. So she wanted a horse before she wanted a car. Of course, Mom's taxi, so it really didn't matter. But but now she is as well. She still has her horse. Oh gosh, she's had her for 11 years now. No, she's had her 13 years. Good grief. The horse is going to be 30 soon. Well, no, 20. She was 20 some odd years now. But she was 7.
How old do horses live to? I don't know. I'm terrified of horses. I don't go near
They
them.
can up to 30-ish. Yeah.
It varies. It varies.
It
Some can live up
varies.
to 40, but then the more the smaller ponies and things like that. Yeah, probably around 30.
Wow.
But she's but now she's in dog grooming now too. So they just bought a property. They're going to be grooming the part of the property so they can bring Branded home for her senior years. But yeah, it's you know, when you speak to animals, you speak to animals. Period. It doesn't matter the animal. She's becoming well renowned in her grooming. So it's like, okay, people ask her. She's booked up for months for grooming. So it's like, and she handles big dogs. Like she has a Great Dane. She has a wolfhound. She's got huge dogs that nobody else can handle. But give them all the Pomeranians. Send Kristen
the dog whisperer.
big dogs. Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Well,
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for all your input. Is there anything that anybody would like to add or ask or feels that we haven't covered?
No, this has actually been really, really good.
Been lovely.
Really, really good.
Very
that
relaxed.
was an exciting session with a lot of, you know, kind of perspectives on the same topic.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your
Very
time
important.
and for
Thank you
turning
for having
up.
me.
Thank you, Nasco.
Yeah.
And I will put
And
the
thank
recording.
you, my little Bailey bee, for staying asleep so long.
Oh, yes. Big thank you to Bailey.
Actually,
I'll...
she's just starting to stir now. So.
What time is it there, Kellyanne?
It's 2:30.
Yeah, dentist time.
No, she might go back to sleep, but who knows? Last
Sorry.
time I was here, she slept for 2.5 hours. So
Is that right?
yeah,
Oh,
so it's been
bless
an
her.
hour and a half. So let's see.
Okie dokie. Right, as I said, I'll pop the recording into the group as soon as it's converted. Thank you again, with lots of love to everybody. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
sure.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Right, hang on, I think